What's up? It's your boy. So now let's see what would happen if Russia attacks every country it wanted. But no, this won't be some badass mapping because I know geography. I am a geography nerd and I admit to that. So the best thing I could do is Russia back in the days and then remove the parts of the country that weren't there back in the day. Now I could probably see it. And yeah, Russia doesn't have Crimea. That belongs to Ukraine. Excuse me. So now we all know that we're doing Russia in the common days, in the current days. So which means I might have some problems because I don't really get a lot of the borders. I've only seen the European version of Russia. But that doesn't just mean it's gonna be bad mapping, okay? Okay, I think we are good. Oh yeah, except for these regions and Sakhalin. So now let's see there's some movement now. And what the hell is this? Okay, let's just not ask that question. Let's go to America first. Some states want to break away, and especially like Alaska. So Alaska becomes independent. There's 49 states, and Russia attacks it. Yeah, we know that's unexpected. And oh my god, I accidentally drew this in India. So now Russia has the right. Now Belarus would join Russia, so they do. In this conclusion, let's say the war is still going on. Sorry, my Ukrainian friend, I'm really sorry for this misfortune of your country. However, if Russia was attacking Alaska and Ukraine got its original land borders back, it could join Russia. So we're gonna mark Ukraine and NATO in blue. But please tell me if this is bad mapping. I'll be very glad to understand. So I got the aspect ratio right, I guess. Okay, got it. So now we're gonna signify every state for the love of God. So now I don't think Moldova is in because of I don't know why. So now we're gonna put Montenegro. Oh, that's how Bosnia and Herzegovina looks like. And then there's Bosnia and Herzegovina. This just looks very disturbing to look at. Like Algerian desert, Libyan desert. Wait, that is called Rio de Oro? And that is called Marrakech? We call that Marrakesh? What? Spanish Africa and Equatorial Guinea. So in most of these countries are just like kind of the same like all the states except for New England. Districts of Ontario and Northern Ontario and stuff. Oh yeah, I forgot the most important. Well, you did the wrong thing, Alaska. Now finally we got that. We're gonna put Greenland and Iceland in the alliance. Wait, okay. Now I think I get it. Catalonia, I guess it could like break away at some point. So if that's realistic, that could be. Oh yeah, that's what I call that region that has been owned by Germany, as Alsace-Lorraine. So now we have Wallonia, Adorens, Luxembourg. Anders Vlaanderen, Nenda Antwerpen. And what is this guy's name? Holland and Friesland and the whole Germany? I don't know. Also, fun fact: did you know Austria isn't independent? I mean, did you know Austria is actually neutral? Some people call it like not but I don't know. But most of Europe is in it's just Bosnia and Herzegovina. Hold up. Oh, hold up. There's some different versions. Now let's see the trial. Okay. Gothamerdug. Okay, nothing changed, but the graveyard of vampires, yeah. So now, anyways, let's see NATO map. Then Mauritania, then Transylvania, Monaco, Sudan. Okay, yeah, so I'm not wrong. I always thought Kosovo was inside. I guess I'm just a bit bad at geography. And there's Holstein and these other. Bro, I don't know why, but like Norway is hasn't been in the alliance since it was born, bro. But their brothers get to join in 2023 and 2024, bro. That's crazy. Okay, look. Can I tell you the actual reason Ukraine is here? The reason that Moldova is actually here is because the reason why Ukraine is like in NATO is because like Russia's in a different war than Ukraine. I'm not glad that Abkhazia is only here. Where's South Ossetia? So now I'll just switch to red for Kaliningrad. So now most of NATO has a strong army. Especially this region. But since slavery is rising up again as a joke, so yeah. Texas leaves, and South Carolina, of course, leaves. Mississippi leaves, Tennessee leaves, North Carolina leaves, Virginia leaves, Alabama, Louisiana, Arkansas leaves, Georgia leaves, and finally Florida. But there's more. Oklahoma leaves, Missouri leaves, Kentucky leaves. But West Virginia won't because they're proudly American. So now there's 156 in Russia's side. So now Indiana leaves, but Illinois and Ohio doesn't leave for 10 years. So they just waited for a long time. Even Pennsylvania leaves. Ohio leaves. West Virginia is just surrounded. But I mean, there's. What I mean, so I mean. So now, considering that most soldiers are in Texas, they could do a raid on the old states they used to have. But since America has a strong army in DC that didn't leave and now is in West Virginia. They attack Virginia and finally connect to the south or northwest. Michigan and Wisconsin soldiers go to the sea border and attack. Nebraska leaves the Confederate States. Colorado and New Mexico wants to leave. They decide to go for Louisiana, but since they know this attack is coming, most of Europe's borders are leaving, including Sturgenland, and Krakow, and Wattenberg. So now, anyways, we're gonna go to the New Year's, where nothing changed in the UAE currently, but yeah, now there's still they are in Berg, in Istanbul. So we're gonna go to the Gothenburg region where nothing changed but Kentucky. So now it's like they surrounded West Virginia. Now they surrounded Ohio. So all the soldiers close in on Ohio, and Missouri leaves the Confederate States. They think that was kind of boring. But what happened to Alaska? Oh yeah, Alaska is attacking Colombia. But since Canadians aren't strong, they need help with US. But they realize they're getting closed on both sides. So they split their army and successfully get some states. Even Vancouver Island, Alberta, Saskatchewan, northern Manitoba, and Ontario, Quebec, Côte Nord, and Labrador, and Newfoundland. But anyways, now we're going to the graveyard of empires today. Now, so since the Georgia is labeled as U.S., they're secretly a U.S. Dang! Okay, I'm hopping on my bed. Okay. So anyways, but now Georgia is surrounded by some states. But since their sisters are next to them, they join. But they're still surrounded. They need to connect with the army. So they try to do a deal with Mississippi's cousin, Louisiana, and they're not surrounded anymore. So Florida leaves. Now the first state to ever leave the USA gets annexed. Now they just gotta focus on Yukon. And now they sign a bit of a peace treaty with Russia. They sign a peace treaty with Russia and wait a few years when Russia needs new members, so they go to Abu Dhabi or the UAE. They get Muscat and Musandam. Do you have Zafar and Oman? So since Saudi Arabia helped NATO in the World War, they add them in. But so look, they also add Lebanon and Hatay, but they don't add Syria for some rebel reasons, and they add Jordan and Palestine and help out Palestine. They even add Cyprus. Oh yeah, forgot about Istanbul. So now we have Gibraltar. That's for the UK. But since they're in this alliance, yeah. Now what is this called? Sidi Ifni, Iblas, Canarias, and Madeira, and Azores, and Tiwi, and me. Now since Southern Sahara is like a bit of a rebel state, they don't let it in. But they let Algiers from in, since the Algerian desert is nothing. So now they finally add all the states that are good. And there's a reason that this would backfire, because the deserts don't like the non-deserts. So Mauritania, Senegal, Gambia, Portuguese, Guinea, Sierra Leone, Liberia, Ivory Coast, Ghana, Togo, Dahomey, Upper Volta, Niger, South, and Sokoto, Lagos, Benue, Borno, and Cameroon, Equatorial Africa. Chad and South Darfur, Kordofan, Bahr el Ghazal, Upper Nile, Blue Nile, Khartoum, and that's actually, they encircle the desert, but not enough. My own game on Hong Kong, Abu Dhabi, Qatar, Yugoslavia. Then Mauritania, then Transylvania, Monaco, Liechtenstein, Malta, and Palestine. Now we have Kassala. They add Eritrea and French Somaliland. But British Somaliland but British Somalia is there, and they add Ethiopia. Rab al Khali decides to leave, but gets added quickly. Qatar and Bahrain joins. So they decide to add Georgia and Azerbaijan inside, and leave the Russian states behind for Russia to get. But CSO is a thing. So it's Russia's side of NATO. But I think Afghanistan is in and they're doing too much. And yeah. And now you obviously know who's gonna be in. But yeah, obviously North Korea isn't in. North Korea isn't really a big ally. So now we're just gonna see. Okay, so now we're gonna go to a graveyard of armies. We still have Dalian and Xingdango. We have Hong Kong and Macau in NATO. Because they aren't really pro-Russian states, they're just countries. And you know there's one more. South Korea, Japan. South Korea, Japan. South Korea, Japan, and the Kuril Island. But now Baluchistan, which is a strong Baluchi region, decides to go independent. But Pakistan doesn't really mind that. Just saying, their population, they're just but the Baluchis are surrounded. So now the South Yemen, the South Yemen had, but the Jews rised up in Yemen. But this causes Yemen to switch both Yemens to switch sides, and eventually add Kuwait inside. But now with that, let's get started in Central Australia, where I went to Victoria. But anyways, we're adding New Zealand, New Caledonia, Fiji, Ellis Islands, Solomon Islands. We're adding Papua and some different islands, but we'll keep these away. So, but CSO has some major superpowers, but the USA is there. So they prepare an attack in Mozir. And they attack all the ethnically Polish sides. So now we're gonna mark this attacking region with a light blue. And then they attack through Bryansk until they finally get to Moscow. But the Russian cold slows them down. But Finnish soldiers from Pistamo and Sila go down in Murmansk and Onega. Hey, Onega! And then they just go through Leningrad and Luga-Pskov, Nevel. You think Russia would surrender at this point, but Armenia was attacking. So we'll mark the Armenian troop. Now we'll mark the red troops in pink. Oh wait. So they go through Hakkari and most of the useless parts. Once they reach Ankara, the the Turkish went crazy on them. Georgia goes, oh my god, and attacks Abkhazia, and people close in Armenia. Azerbaijan gets some old land from West and East Azerbaijan, and Kurdistan joins for some good for some reason. Kurdistan joins for Azerbaijan, and Kurdish soldiers go through Iran. But since Iran's military is strong, they would be able to push, but not a lot. So the Emirati soldiers go up to Fars and Sistan. And Baluchistan goes through Afghanistan. And this is bad because they reached Tehran. So they get it, and Iran doesn't surrender but keeps fighting. And then they eventually collapse. And then they eventually fight off Afghanistan. So now the Baluchistani soldiers go and attack Kashmir, ending the Kashmir problem. But now Pakistan is over. So now the North Korean soldiers, they go up in North Korea and free some people that have been oh my god, just okay. So now we have Vladivostok. And they attack through China, but their military is strong. So United Nations soldiers come through and attack in Sakhalin. And they catch Chukotka and Kamchatka. They get through Magadan, Kolmia, and different Russian states. They might get encircled. So the soldiers go from Dalian to Shandong and Qinghai. They finally reach Beijing, but the soldiers could escape, so they block the soldiers. But since all the soldiers are in Beijing protecting the capital, they could get it, and the new capital is gonna be Shanghai. Where's Shanghai? Shanghai. Oh yeah, that's a bad idea. So now Taiwan attacks Fujian and Zhejiang, and Macau and Hong Kong don't have strong armies, so they just fight Guangzhou, another region that wants to get out. So now Nanning and Guangzhou get out, and Guangdong connects. So they encircle the second capital. So they need an unlandlocked capital, but their coast is gone. So they changed their capital to somewhere with a lake. They don't have a lake, so they choose Orqami as the capital, which is a good idea because they're far away from the other soldiers. So while some of the soldiers are attacking in the Saharan deserts, and eventually the Arabs block out North Yemen. French Somaliland goes out and attacks all the regions that have been out. So now we'll update the land borders. So we're updating the borders finally. Do you just ever wish Macau and Hong Kong had a border? So now this region oh my god. So now they take some states and Tanutuva. And they're finally encircling Orqomi. So now since China doesn't have any good places, and they know if they change the capital to either of these three states, they would get done for. So they surrender. All that's left is Russia and India. And East Pakistan attacks West Bengal and the Sikkim region until India's out. The Maldives join but get attacked. So now flashback to the Sahara. They're finally knocked out because most of the soldiers aren't strong there. But Russia realized they weren't attacking Kaliningrad. So the Russians, where's the Russian thing? They decide to attack some regions and Danzig, but Poland gets their land and attacks them. But Russia had many places to put their capital and a lot of lakes to maybe put their capital. So once Moscow got taken, Ivanova became the capital, but Ivanova got attacked with it. So Rostov-on-Don became the capital, or Dagestan. So now they decide to change the capital to a very northern place called Nineveh. But that the blue troops surround have Nineveh, so they changed the capital to Perm, which they didn't border and was fine because there's so many small cities ahead of it. But the thing is, Crimea didn't attack, so the Russians wanted to get them, but now the Russians don't know where's Rostov-on-Don, just call it the capital. But they realize that the thing is, they're surrounding. So Perm stays as the capital until it gets attacked. Even some major states. So now it's like the OSCE is gonna surrender, but Russia didn't. So Russia attacked its own states, bro. Its own alliance members. So now you're telling me this. So now you're telling me this is the border. No, that's crazy. That's crazy, bro. Bro, even one of your states named the city after your country, bro. I mean, like after your president. But eventually, all the states get out. Tumen becomes the capital, but the only place they don't border is none, actually. So Russia. So now Russia is now out for now, but Chukotka Peninsula gets attacked, and they discover Alaska is still there. No, please don't attack me. NATO wins, and finally, Arab countries can have peace at last. But now we're also gonna review some maps. Like the province. So, whoa. I didn't realize that there's a lot. Highly detailed. Oh! Bro, look at Europe. That's impossible. Now let's see what they're named. Oh my god, that's so boring. They named it after the original. Like Abu Dhabi 2, Abu Dhabi 2, Abu Dhabi 1. Yani, like, this one is supposed to be Dubai, not gonna lie. That one's supposed to be Sharjah. That one's supposed to be Abu Dhabi. Look. Once you zoom out, it looks like you're in a detailed map, bro. Like, the only state that doesn't have a lot of territory is the Greenland. Well, anyways, we're gonna